preparing a little tutorial of, a remedial tutorial in Revit. Alina's submitted a rather large file that we're going to try to make a little bit smaller and correct some things. I'm going to show you what I typically do with a Revit file to understand it. So she's interested in troubleshooting lights. I hope to be able to show you guys how to get around a file that you don't know in Revit, that you may not be familiar with in Revit, and then export that file to AutoCAD, wherein you can later import it into SketchUp if you're more comfortable working in SketchUp. But just remember, SketchUp is not a drawing, an architectural drawing problem, so you can avoid doing the line work somehow, either in Revit or AutoCAD or Illustrator or that sort of thing. So I'm going to open the file that was given to me. Which is way too big right now, 266 megabytes. So the first thing, we'll have to look around and see how we can make that a bit smaller, because that's going to cause problems for you. You have to keep an eye on file size. We're building a building in South Boston, size of a city block, and it's not that big. And that usually happens when you, bring in entourage or lighting or espresso machines or other things that you find online that take up a lot of room. So we have some default view here. So what I like to do is to quickly go, I know nothing about this file. Click on this icon, default 3D view, right? So that will bring up a window. It shows you what the heck, an overview of what's going on. So we got lots of walls that appear to be drawn somewhere in the model coming out through the roof. So hold down the shift key, mouse wheel. I'm not sure what's happening here, but one thing I can do is make sure, I doubt these walls want to do that, so I can select them all by just sort of rotating, and then right click. If I do this left fence select, I can select all those walls and attach them. Okay, some of them are pinned, so I'm going to unpin them. I'm just cleaning things up here. And then we're going to, let's make sure that we have just walls. I'm going to the filter. I don't want to select these guys. Don't want to select that, just the walls. Okay? And then we're going to attach to the roof, because I assume that they're not going highlighted walls overlap. So you got some curtain walls that are going through the model. I don't know. I'm guessing the author is unfamiliar with drawing curtain walls. It isn't. That's not important right now, right? We're trying to get file size down. Let's go to the floor plan, level 1. Okay, there's a good deal of. So these look like things that were imported. Level 1.5, I guess that's a mezzanine level. And then level 2, there's some stuff up there. Level 3 is just the attic, the roof, whatever. Okay? Let's start by going Manage, Purge Unused. When you click on Purge Unused, it tells you the number of items that may be deleted that are not in use. So you got 1,000 things here that you probably don't need or are not in use, or at least are not currently in use. They may be in use in the future, but I'm going to go purge. Got to do it more than once. Manage, purge unused. You can do this in SketchUp as well. See, there's 239 remaining. And let's do it one more time. Manage, purge unused. 126 items remaining. Once again, you got to do it until that number goes to 0. Purge unused, 0. Good. Okay? Now, file, save as project. I'm going to save it in the folder. It's drawn. I got multiple monitors here. I think you can see that. I'm going to save it in the folder that I opened it from. See, it was 266 megabytes. Now I'm going to rename it. Follow these instructions carefully, please. You have to do everything precisely for this to work. Rename it Alina Wrench Lights Purged, right? Then we're going to have a look at file size again. You got to be nimble when you're working with 3D modeling programs. Your file size cannot, especially you're probably working on a personal computer, you don't want to deal with a file size slowing down your computer. Let's do a save as again to see whether that improved. File save as project. Bring that window over here. And you can see that went from 266 megabytes to 80. It's still rather big, but we can live with that. Okay? I'm I believe I was asked, why isn't the office library, which I assume is this 3D view, why are the lights not working in this view? It's taking its time, loading, even with the purged model. I suspect that it's taking that time because this is set, this is a view control bar on the bottom left where it says perspective. You see that icon. I have to wait for this wheel to stop, but the icon is set, instead of the visual style is set to realistic with edges. It takes forever to render. Got to change that to hidden line. Don't make life difficult for yourself here. A hidden line. Okay, so we have kind of like a skewed perspective here. I'm going to redo this perspective, but you'll see we have wall. I suspect there's a problem with ceiling. I'm going to try to select there's a wall, and then select element by face, and let's try to select the ceiling. There is no ceiling here. This is going to the roof. This light is stuck on the roof, so that may be a problem. But I'm going to go to floor plan and generate a view. I'm going to ignore this, right? I don't know what floor this is on. Is it on this floor? Office library. Could it be that? Level 2. Let's go back. and see there's furniture with an end table in the middle. Is that on level? Furniture with it. Okay, so this is a room, right? You have elevation views. Okay. Got a really short distance from wall to wall, but here's what I would do with this, right? First thing I need to know, I need a section through this room to understand what I'm looking at. So the elevations are fine, right? These are just looking at your walls, but I'm going to cut a section, view, section, and go from here to here. Let's reverse it. Um, that little icon allows you to flip the section. So I want to interrogate this room. Maybe, I could do the whole house, right? This is the scope of the section. And go to this view, go to view. Okay, the view was telling me I got something, a lighting fixture stuck on, there's no ceiling in this space, right? So I need to draw and remember all these walls are stuck on the roof because at the beginning of this little lesson, I went into the model, selected all the walls, selected the filter, made sure that only walls were selected, and connected them to the roof because there are no ceilings in here. So you need to draw a ceiling in here. I'm going to just create a detailed line. I know that the line type line, you need to draw a ceiling that's like maybe a cathedral ceiling, right? That goes from here to there, right? These are just lines, but I need to draw a ceiling. I drew a line, right? I'm not doing anything extraordinary here. That's at about 10 feet, 10 inches, right? So you go to your ceiling plan for level 2, and you go to this room, and you draw a ceiling. Let's get rid of this fixture because that isn't going to do anything connected to the roof. System switch system is empty and will be deleted. Who knows what that is? Who cares? Architecture, ceiling. Now you can draw automatic ceiling. Don't use automatic ceiling. I'm going to repeat this. Do not use automatic ceiling. You cannot predict what Revit is going to do with it. Always draw it. Select the sketch ceiling tool and draw the ceiling to its boundaries. Okay? Now, what did I select? The ceiling type wants to be, could be generic, could be GWB. These are the only types available. GWB is gypsum board on metal studs. That would be fine. Both of these generic ceilings, okay, and GWB, if I look at the type, it's telling me the thickness is 4 inches. Okay, so that we can live with that. And the height wants to be higher than 8.6, right? Because when I look at the section and I drew the line, that's where I want that ceiling to be, 10 feet 9. See these pink lines here that you can barely see? That's my sketch mode for the ceiling. That's where it's going to draw it. I'm going to change that height to 10 space 10. 10 feet 10 inches. I'm drawing a ceiling in here at level 2 at 10 feet 10 inches and hit finish edit. Now when I go back to that section, I have a ceiling there, all right? It goes outside the bounds of the roof because I didn't pay attention to the boundary formed by that slope roof above the level in which I was drawing. Now I can edit the boundary to the one thing I could do is edit the boundary of that ceiling, right? And look at it from level 3. That's that isn't going to help me. But let's ignore this for now, right? That means I have to bring in this boundary a little bit to compensate for the sloped roof. If you don't understand what I'm doing, carefully replay it because it's really important to understand what you're doing in 3 dimensions. I just made a guess at where the ceiling that I just drew intersects that roof. And I go finish edit. And I go back to my section. Look at that. Now it's buried in that roof somewhere. That's what I want. And this is the thing I want to attach light to. So let's go back